before shot, the after shot. Welcome back to the One and Done channel. Today, switching out this 3-hole faucet because this side, the cold, it doesn't work. It keeps dripping out. Even though you turn it all the way off, it has a run, so that valve is shot. So instead of taking this no-name whatever, we're gonna go with a one and done company like Moen. Moen is great, lasts a million years. I love it with the spot resist. That way if you touch this thing, you get toothpaste stuff on it or whatever, it just doesn't have a bunch of the spottiness that some of the brush nickel stuff gets. So we're gonna put this one on there. We're gonna replace it with the valve head right here, all this hose and stuff, and get this going. All right, let's start by shutting off the valve here, and taking off these water lines. Now that the water's off, we're gonna go through a few things. So according to this, they say you need a number 2 Phillips head, you need some Teflon tape. They mentioned an adjustable wrench, but you know, we got the arsenal, so I got some fixed wrenches in all types of sizes. And one thing you may need to go buy that doesn't come is some plumber's putty to seal up the bottom of these and the bottom of this thing here to the actual top of the countertop. So if you have these simple tools, according to the instructions, you should be okay. I would just, add a slip groove pliers, slip groove wrench to this, and possibly just, some fixed wrenches, 5/8, 3/8, ½ inch, just so you have some fixed sizes, just in case this adjustable wrench doesn't cut it or you start, getting slipping in these grooves or whatever. So, but basically, they're saying this is all we're gonna need tool-wise. And the work light wouldn't hurt because it's not that bright underneath these sinks, So having a little light, it's always a good thing. And something to catch the water because we are under a sink. Here's a pro tip. If you are unfortunate enough to have these multi-turn valves and they've been sitting for more than, I'm gonna say, about 5 years, these things can't be trusted. Even if they're not leaking, these are the type of things that if you start to twist them and close them or change, like what I'm about to do, go pick yourself up one of these at, your local store, be it Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever you go. A valve stem repair kit. These things are about maybe $3. And if these things start to leak when you close them up, that's gonna be your savior. Once that thing starts leaking, if you don't have this, you gotta leak until you fix it. So, pick them up. Now, Moen is great at telling you what you need to put this thing in, but you're gonna need more stuff possibly to take off what you got. Now, this is an older one. See these nuts here that are big around this faucet piece and the size of that thing? Yeah, you're not getting that off with any of the tools that Moen mentioned. So what I'm gonna say is tools for the job gonna make your life easy. Pick yourself up one of these. I'm gonna show you exactly how this works and why this is the tool to have so that you're not fighting with this thing and getting it off easy. Now what this tool is gonna do, it's gonna extend up there, and I'm gonna try to one-hand this while I hold the phone, but you can see that clamps around that. Then you have this handle down here. You can push this thing across to this side and watch. That grabs it and it basically starts to turn that nut up top. I ain't doing it on the video, but let's see. There you go. See that turning right there? That's how you get that thing over there. Now once we start that turn, we can just crack it loose with our hands, but that's what this tool's gonna do. I have this Husky tool from Home Depot. You can substitute it with a set of slip groove pliers, aka channel locks. That's the actual brand name. That's where that comes from. If you look on it, these are actually channel lock brand, but this is a slip groove pliers. People refer to them as channel lock, kind of like Kleenex and Xerox and stuff like that, but this will probably substitute for this. If you don't have this, you can't pick one up or you just don't want to buy it. If you have enough room, you could possibly get that large nut there right over this one here. You could probably get that off with a set of slip pliers. Now you just take that off by hand, spin them both off. So repeat the same thing on that side using that tool, and then once you crack it open, you can spin it off with your hand. The thing I gotta do with this particular valve is I had to take the water off from here and from here, and then that'll allow this thing to go slip straight through here. This will just come with it and it'll go through that hole, and this will disconnect it from the main water line, and that will make this thing free. And we'll do the same thing on that side as well. That'll take this off. Then I'm gonna once I undo this will drop down, and I'll take this piece off, unscrew this nut, and the whole thing will just come out to the top. Got this loose, just pull it straight out of here. So if you pull these things out and you have one of these hoses here with the two O-rings, get yourself a 7/16 fixed wrench, and you form it around that nut right here, and you just loosen this thing up, and then this whole thing will come out. That thing will come off, and you'll be able to take it off from the bottom. Okay, now that everything is out, you're gonna clean these with a cleaner, get some paper towel, just wipe that off and get that ready, because we're gonna start using the plumber's putty to put there to start sealing it, to install the middle and hot and cold valves. So first step is to test fit the new faucet head. So we're gonna put that in there, inside the hole. We gotta go underneath and utilize this piece. Now, it goes on the bottom this way if you have about an inch of clearance, but if you have less than an inch of threading, then you take this plastic piece off and you just use the metal piece. So we're gonna go do a test fit and see what we got. So you can see what we got protruding underneath the sink. So we do a test fit and we see what we're working with. So if we put the piece on, you see we don't have many threads with this piece on. So because we're going straight to the countertop and not through the counter, we don't have enough threads to screw on our nut. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this off. We're gonna take this plastic piece off, and we're just gonna use the metal and then put the metal on here, and then we'll have a bunch of threads in order to put our nut there to securely hold this to the bottom of the sink. So we took this off of this, took it apart. We're just gonna use this piece. We're gonna take our plumber's putty, gonna get a bead here. We're gonna put it around this rim, and then we're gonna take this mounting piece for the actual spout, and with the plumber's putty, put that down here. Take the spout, put the spout inside, and then we're going to use the washer here and the nut underneath to tighten it up. Then we're going to take off the excess plumber's putty around here. This way no water gets here and gets past this and starts to leak downstairs, just down at the bottom, just in case you brush your teeth and stuff and get water on top of your sink like everybody does. Plumber's putty's there. Now we're going to put the spout in. That's fitted. Go underneath and tighten it up. So there you have it. Washer's on. Took the plastic off, remember, because we didn't have enough threads. We put the nut on there, and then we're going to utilize the tool in order to tighten this. This side here, this comes with the kit. Slides on here like that. And you stick it up there, put it on the nut, and then you stick a screwdriver through that hole, and then you proceed to twist it and tighten it up to hold it securely to the sink. Now we have the rings for the two valves for your hot and cold. We gotta put some plumber's putty here, some plumber's putty here, and then we're gonna sit these up. We see the word up. Put them here and on that side, and then we're gonna fit our valves on here. Okay, there you go, with the plumber's putty. That's what it looks like. Okay, for the next step, we're gonna need our valves. So we're gonna need the nut rings that come to go on the bottom of these. We're gonna need these washers, and we're gonna need all 4 of these screws. Remember, hot's on the left, cold's on the right. That is a plumbing standard. Pre-screw the screws inside of these nuts. Take off these protective sleeves, and then we're gonna screw these things onto the back. But first we gotta mount them inside, then we go underneath the sink, we insert this washer, and then we put the screw in the back of it. And then we put these set nuts or screws in place so that this thing doesn't spin off, like so. And then we do the cold the same way. So we're underneath now. As you can see, we put this washer first, and then we screwed on this this nut that we put those set screws in, and we're just gonna screw that all the way to the top, tighten it up, and then we're gonna make sure that the top, all that plumber's putty is smushed down so it's even with the countertop, and then we're gonna tighten those up, and then we're gonna remove these protective sleeves. Now with everything tightened up and the set screws screwed in so that this thing's secure, you can take off these protective sleeves. And then we're gonna attach the hose, the distribution hose that goes here, and then to here, and to here, and then we can hook up our water lines to these bases. Now, these you should not need some Teflon tape, but these lines are old. I'm gonna actually change these because this little bit of rust is no bueno. So for now, just to show the complete, I'm gonna put a little Teflon tape over here, and then we're gonna connect this to this. But once I change these lines, everything should be fine. Now you use the tool that came with this thing to put the valves in the closed position. So for the hot valve, you're gonna go in here and go that way. That is clockwise. For the cold valve, you're gonna put this in here and go this way, counterclockwise. Once we do that, we're going to actually take these valves and push them on top. Now this is going to take a little bit of strength, but you're going to take them and literally place them on top once they're in cold position, and put pressure and just push these things down on top of the valve heads. And when you're done, it should look like that on the top. So now we're going to insert the hose to make everything connect. What you want to make sure, first you're going to put it on the center spout stem. You're going to make sure that the disconnect button is facing forward so that you can press it and release it if you need to. Next most important thing is these hose ends do not go this way. You have to install them with the button on the down side so that the words Moen, as you can see there, are upright. Okay, so this is going to go onto here like so. We're going to do like a little loop and do it this way, and just put these right here. So, sorry, put that way, take these and slide them in until they click, and that's it. Once it's clicked, it's on, and then we're going to take our feed from the water here, take this, a couple of things of Teflon here. They're going to screw this in, turn the water valves on, and give it a test. Now, trick of the trade. Thing about Teflon tape, the main thing you want to make sure is that if you're screwing something on towards the right, you make sure that you put the tape on wrapped towards the right. Because if you go to screw something on this way, and that tape is ending that way, you're going to unravel the tape. So if you're screwing this way, you wrap the tape in the same direction, and that way everything comes out clean. So all of our water lines hooked up right there, and this side over here, get that shot. Nothing is leaking from any of these hose connections. I don't like this rust, as mentioned before. This line is going to be changed just as a precaution. These valve stems, this one had a little bit of a drip when I opened it, but that's kind of normal. But again, I'm going to come back tomorrow, change these valve stems to the kit that I showed you earlier in the video to just make sure those are good. I'm going to change both of these hoses, this one and the one over there, because you know the hose is always a problem. Anyway, that's the end of that. We're going to go and check up top and see if the water is running good. Okay, hot water first. Nice. Look at that pressure. And cut that off. Cold water. Nice. Hot and cold. Beautiful amount of pressure. Drain going down nicely. Gonna clean that up. And that's it. That is the installation procedure of this 3-hole sink. One and done. This is a Moen. This thing is gonna last forever. And the last thing we're gonna do is this. This is the model. So just because things happen and maybe you need parts, Moen's got a lifetime guarantee on their stuff. So you take this, so you remember the model number. Now you just come down here and stick it like right around this little trap pipe there. That way you always have it. Okay, that's it, people. One and done. This is the one that I would suggest. Kohler's a good brand. Delta's a good brand. Moen's also a good brand. These are all one and done type of things. I would stick with these type of brands if you want to do this thing one time and never again. All right, on to the next project.